Over the past 24 hours, we've been just overwhelmed by your response to our Red State Trailblazers town hall in Orlando last night. Now, we had 5 GOP governors who joined us for a wide-ranging conversation about how they've grown their economies, how they've protected individual freedoms, and how they've beaten back the radical leftists dominating the Democrat Party. Now, none of them had waited for Washington's permission to open their businesses or lift their mask mandates or, frankly, get their students back in the classroom. And none of them are cowed by the woke mob, BLM, or the gender fluidity crowd. They're all happy warriors.
One thing all the CEOs told me, they could not operate in California. They came to the state of Texas because they knew it was great for their employees, great for their workers, great for the staff, but great for their vision of what they wanted to achieve as a business.
We just need to encourage people to step up, do the right thing, and fight back. It's worth fighting. We have to fight back.
But we're fighting back in Florida. So the bill's passed. I'm going to sign a bill that will hold big tech accountable. It'll allow you to sue big tech if they censor you or deplatform you, and also provides protections for political candidates' speech.
Now, contrast that with the Democrats' very dark vision of America.
Tonight, I come to talk about crisis, the worst pandemic in a century, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. Nice cars, lined up for miles, waiting for a box of food to be put in their trunk. More than 400,000 schools and child care centers have pipes with lead in them.
Wow, so uplifting. It's shocking that more people didn't tune in for such an inspiring message.
We have to come together to root out systemic racism in our criminal justice system. We have a real chance to root out systemic racism that plagues America and American lives in other ways.
Plagues American life? The governors of Florida and Texas, 2 of our most diverse states, beg to differ.
It's a bunch of horse manure. I mean, give me a break. This country has had more opportunity for more people than any country in the history of the world. And it doesn't matter where you trace your ancestry from.
Use race to divide and then attack each other, and it's wrong. Texas is a land of opportunity for absolutely everybody, and we want to unite everybody, not divide people.
Today's Democrat Party is so left, it's left America. It tolerates mass illegal immigration, it coddles criminals, looters, rioters, and it seeks to silence any and all opposition from law-abiding citizens. Just look at what they did to Senator Tim Scott on Twitter this week. I guess they thought they were being cute with their Uncle Tim hashtag, but really what they did is they just revealed once again how sick, twisted, and anti-American they've become.
It seems like many people in the Democrat Party, and it's not just the far left, it's many people in the Democrat Party are putting down America day in and day out. It's almost as if they want to act as if there is not this thing called the American dream. And they are absolutely wrong.
The truth is, today's Democrats despise our political system. They hate the way most Americans live, and they revile our history and our traditions. So when Biden talks about creating opportunity, he's just talking about the opportunity for big government to grow bigger by taking more of your money and more of your freedoms. But for the GOP governors, opportunity means job creation in the private sector, one that is freed from the heavy yoke and high taxes and endless red tape.
Texas ranks #1 in the nation for black-owned business job creation, for black women-owned business job creation, for Hispanic-owned business job creation, for Hispanic entrepreneurs.
And in order to become job creators and entrepreneurs that Governor Abbott was talking about, well, kids have to be in school. They have to be learning. They have to be playing sports, having a normal life. Americans also just need to be together, not shut away from one another. At least that's what the Republicans fought for.
Remember when President Biden got on the air and said, we want everybody to be playing, sports again? I'm like, we were doing that last summer.
Yeah, what is he talking about?
We want everybody to gather at 4th of July. We were doing that last summer, too. He's completely out of touch with what's going on in our states. He does not know what's going on.
We warned you a year ago that Democrats would seek to use the pandemic to keep us in a continual crisis mode. Then, of course, that crisis of the pandemic just folds into the next crisis. The systemic racism crisis, the climate crisis. Hawaii just declared a climate emergency. This happened yesterday. So these perpetually hyped crises are then just used to justify the left's brazen efforts to take more of our money and more of our liberty. That's how the game always goes. But the only real crisis that America suffers from today are those that are created by them, the Democrats, like the border crisis, or the education crisis, or the crisis of rising crime. So if Texas and Florida and the other red states had followed New York and California's lead a year ago, think about it. America's economy would be in the dumps, just like Europe's. This is a headline out of Germany today, where they're implementing once again more pandemic restrictions. Meanwhile, our first quarter real GDP number that just came out, 6.4% growth. That is truly astounding. And of course, Biden is trying to claim credit as all his doing, but he deserves exactly zero credit for today's booming economy. It was all the doing of Donald J. Trump, the red state governors, and the American people who rejected the doomsdayers and stuck with first principles. They trusted their own constituents over the so-called experts who just wanted us masked up and afraid for as long as possible. So if Biden had been president, think about this, just a year ago, if he had been president, all of America would look like Michigan, failing, miserable, and pessimistic. Let's not forget how they saw this whole thing unfolding about a year ago this time. They were saying that we might not recover from this pandemic economically for decades. But what the story of the past year really reveals is that Americans can't be held down or held back by Washington for very long. Yeah, the Democrats won the election by selling Biden as a nice, kind of moderate Democrat. But now, now the voters are beginning to see what they really got. They got an elderly hostage to the far left. They've gone from Obama's "yes, we can" to Biden's "yes, we're racist." This deeply cynical view means that Democrats can only occupy America. They can't really govern it. What a depressing world they want to foist on us. But my friends, optimism beats pessimism any day of the week. And by next year, a lot of those suburban women who voted for Biden, they're going to think this doom and gloom social distancing act of the Democrats has gotten really old. And they're going to be looking for a brighter vision.
I think Greg and Kim and all these governors are doing it right, and we will have a resurgence of freedom in this country. And 2022, I think, is going to be a great year for us.
Last night, we saw what a pro-American government looks like at the state level. It was all about joy, success, love of country, and freedom.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.